Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? It is time, of course, for the Monday, July 4th review for Raw. You'll have to excuse me. I have no voice. I'm burnt to shit. I had a long weekend. I'm pretty sure I don't know if you can tell or not, my face, my shoulders, my arms pretty much match the shirt that I'm wearing right now. That's what happens when you go to Toronto Island with no sunscreen. To all my Canadian watchers, I hope you guys had a great Canada Day. To all my American subscribers, I hope today was a great July 4th for you. I hope you had a great Independence Day. And like us here in Canada, if you feel like sharing how you spent your long weekend, the box is down there for a reason. Now, before I get into Raw, there's two people, I should say. I can't say guys, and you'll see why in a second. There's two people on YouTube that I need to give humongous shout-outs to because they deserve them. KidOfWrestling, if you've seen my videos in the past little while, I've responded to him twice, and he's who I have most of my conversation with on here right now, which is funny because if my geography is correct, I'm pretty sure he's on the other side of the planet. But be that as it may, he just reached his 500 subscriber mark, so congratulations for that. B, he has an absolutely brilliant 6 ways to improve the YWC video that you guys all need to see. I'm not going to put the link up there or there like I usually do, because apparently the past couple of videos I've done that hasn't worked. But I will put it down in the description box, and you guys, if you aren't already subscribed to KidOfWrestling, even if you don't subscribe to KidOfWrestling, you need to check out this video that he has done. I believe, unless he's posted something in the past couple of hours or so, I believe it's his most recent video. Anyway, good guy in general. You should subscribe to him, but you should definitely check out this particular video. There's 1 or 2 points that I kind of shade away from agreeing on him with, but for the most part, he's right on the money. Same can be said for NuttyRockChick, and congratulations go out to her at reaching her 1,000 subscriber point. Much deserved. She's probably the 2nd or 3rd person that I ever subscribed to when I first created this channel. Amazing fun, always positive, always trying to see the positive side of everything. And she has a brilliant little video about this particular month in wrestling, talking about Destination X and Money in the Bank and their unique impact on their respective companies, and putting the onus on wrestling critics, a little bit of put your money where your mouth is, and I believe that's the name of the video. She makes a lot of amazing points, and I personally can't argue with any of them. But yeah, if you don't know who she is, if you aren't already subscribed to her, go check out that video and subscribe to her, because she's pretty awesome. I'm gonna sound like a plug machine. I really don't care. I will plug the hell out of somebody that deserves it. Anyways, let us move on to Raw, shall we? 2 things going into this Raw. WWE being an American station, you knew that this episode was going to be bathed in Americana, didn't you? We have the red, white, and blue, flag on the entryway, and I'm surprised we didn't have the red, white, and blue ropes, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm surprised we didn't have Lillian Garcia or somebody else actually belting out the national anthem at the beginning of the show. But there was a fair bit of WWE-esque Americana in this show, which is to be expected. It is Independence Day, they are an American company, etc., etc., etc. We open up with John Cena. As John Cena's on his way to the ramp, they announce CM Punk has been, he's out. He's suspended because of all his naughty language and subject matter from last week and the amazing shoot of the decade that we've all talked about to death, so I'm not going to go into it anymore. But it's going to be Del Rio, Truth, and Rey Mysterio for the #1 contendership later on tonight on Raw. Cena comes out and basically does... there wasn't much to it, but it was basically like, I don't like CM Punk, but he shouldn't be suspended for speaking his mind, this and that, and da-da-da-da-da. Looks over at Michael Cole, sort of tells off Michael Cole, sort of tells Michael Cole not to bother going to the laptop tonight because he's gone over the general manager's head and he has called out Vince McMahon. Because that's a good idea. Basically, that was your opening segment. Pretty passionate. A lot more work than shoot as far as comparing it to CM Punk, obviously, because it's Cena. But, at the same time, not bad. I have to give it to it. I have to give it to him through gritted teeth, because I can't stand Cena, as you all well know, but I have to give credit where it's due. It was a good, solid, strong way to open the show, more than I would have expected from him. And then we have a very forgettable Divas tag match that I'm not even going to give the time of day to. We have a promotional package for Andy, who won Tough Enough. I'm glad that they're keeping him fresh in people's heads, even though they're not going to jam him down our throats right away like they do with the NXT guys. It's keeping him fresh in our heads, showing us little clips here and there of what he's doing in FCW, and saying, yeah, this guy is going to be big one day, not, yeah, this guy's going to show up next week and all of a sudden he's going to have a title on him in the next 2 months. Because that's not realistic. I'm pretty sure having Tough Enough and NXT only makes NXT look dumber. You can't really look at it any other way, because NXT is like the clown college version of Tough Enough, isn't it? I don't know why I'm going off on a tangent on that. This is a Raw review. But yeah, it was a good little package. You know, WWE always puts... they're good with their video package stuff. Their producers and people that do those things are always really good. So it was a nice little package. Show us how Andy... I guess how he's doing in FCW. What some of the people that are training him have to say. They had one of the FCW trainers there talking quite a bit. They had Steamboat and Dusty Rhodes giving their 2 cents, which is always good. You know, it gives him a little bit of credibility to have a couple of Hall of Famers say that he's doing a good job. So good for him. We have an interview with R-Truth about the number 1 contender triple threat match, which is interrupted by Alberto Del Rio, and R-Truth had a wicked little comment in there. I love how funny R-Truth's heel guy is with his being nuts and such. He had to fight Jimmy last week, you know, obviously referring to John Cena, and then he looks at Alberto Del Rio straight in the face and calls him Senor Jimmy, which I thought was great. And then Alberto Del Rio does his creepy little wink thing and goes away. I guess he misses his boyfriend Ricardo. Hey, he could have been walking up and down the streets of Toronto this past weekend. Ha! If anybody gets that. We have a Santino and Vladimir Kozlov versus the Nexus of Otunga and McGillicutty, and this is another interesting scenario, because Mason Ryan is out. Apparently he got injured during an international tour, and he's going to be out for a bit, and Punk's going to be gone, theoretically, in like 2 weeks. So now we've finally broken it down to the Nexus just being a tag team. And a tag team with nobody on the outside, a tag team with no manager, so to speak, if you want to call CM Punk a manager. And they just had a straight-up decent match, considering their opponents were Vladimir Kozlov and Santino Marella. The match was average. The match was carried by Nexus, for sure, because Santino's a goof. Nexus wins, but more importantly, they win clean, and they win looking strong, and they win looking as strong as the tag team champions should. Little tiny glimmer of hope in the tag team division, probably not, but we can always hope. Oh, yes. And after the match, Zack Ryder hops off YouTube and gets on Raw for 5 seconds, grabs a mic, woo woo woo, you know it, bro, and he's gone. And the crowd pops ridiculously, and yeah. We go to the back. We have Miz bitching about not being in the triple threat match for the number 1 contendership. Somehow he spins it around and blames it on Alex Riley. And yeah, he's going to take it out on Alex Riley tonight, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Typical Miz promo. Miz is starting to look nuts too, which he's good at it. Don't get me wrong. He's good at, you know, being sort of like that pissed off, raging, borderline losing it a little bit guy. He's good at it. He reminds me a lot of Jericho, which will probably get me a lot of heat, but he's better at it than R-Truth is, and you guys already know that I love R-Truth's heel turn, so it's good, but we have this theme right now of just everybody going nuts in WWE. Mark Henry's going nuts, R-Truth's going nuts, you know, The Miz is going nuts. The only heel right now that's not completely off their rocker is Christian, and that's because Christian is good enough without being off his rocker. But anyway, makes me yearn back for the days of like Steve Blackman and Ken Shamrock, doesn't it? Remember when they used to snap? That was fucking ridiculous. There's some people watching this video right now that won't even know who those guys are, and that makes me feel old and ridiculous. Anyways, Miz finishes bitching, and we go to the back where Evan Bourne is hanging out with Sergeant Slaughter for some random reason. Sergeant Slaughter is confronted by Jack Swagger, who says he should lead the crowd in the Pledge of Allegiance instead of Sergeant Slaughter. Swagger challenges Slaughter to a match. Slaughter obviously accepts, and we move on. We come back to the first Money in the Bank promo package of the night, which is another video package, because those guys earned their paycheck tonight. Video package highlights from the 2010 Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, which, you know, the WrestleMania Money in the Bank matches were obviously better than the ones that we're getting now for a lot of reasons. A, it's WrestleMania, so they were a lot more careful as to who was in the match. B, they were not, most of them weren't hindered by the impending PG rating, and, you know, it was a newer concept back then. Now it's just, okay, this is Money in the Bank, this is what we need to do, bing, bang, boom, bang it out. Anybody else bothered by the fact that it's a Money in the Bank pay-per-view we have coming up, and the Money in the Bank matches aren't even being promoted that much? Like, every time there was a match tonight with somebody that was in the Money in the Bank match, they mentioned it, but all the, obviously, and rightfully so, all the focus is around CM Punk's John Cena, CM Punk's leaving in the world title and all that, but it's the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and the focus is not any of the Money in the Bank matches. I believe it was Black Cat Feline who pointed out that, you know, you order the Royal Rumble, and the Royal Rumble is why you're watching the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble match, sorry, is why you're watching the Royal Rumble. The Money in the Bank matches that are coming up on the 17th are not why we're ordering the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, are they? We're sure as hell not ordering it for the Divas title match, so, yeah, moving on. Swagger and Sergeant Slaughter basically have a beat-up-the-old-man match. Swagger wins, beats down Slaughter after the match. He gets saved by Evan Bourne. Prolongs their rivalry, lends a little bit more excitement to their participation in Money in the Bank, and then Sergeant Slaughter leads everybody in the Pledge of Allegiance, which, if you are one of my American fans and you are celebrating Independence Day, was, I'm sure, a great moment for you, being in Canada, being that I have a lot of friends, or not, friends and subscribers and whatever in the UK and elsewhere in the world. Not as important for us, but, you know, it's your day, do your thing, whatever. Alberto Del Rio, R-Truth, and Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio I really don't care about anymore. Alberto Del Rio I can't stand, and R-Truth should be getting more of a push than he's getting. Truth dominated this match. Not only dominating his opponents, literally in the choreography of the match, but in terms of overall impressiveness, impact on the crowd, impact on me as a spectator, R-Truth dominated this match and was jobbed out of a victory when he was knocked out of the ring, and Alberto Del Rio gets the cross arm breaker on Rey Mysterio. Yeah, so theoretically now we have Alberto Del Rio facing John Cena for the world title at Money in the Bank, and they're going to pick somebody else to replace Alberto Del Rio in the ladder match. Fun times, to be sure. We have another highlight package. Oh, yes we do. It's from the 2005 Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. I noticed that they're not showing any footage from last year's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Maybe because that sucked with Big Show and his special ladder and... Ziggler and Vicky come out, and, you know, we sing Happy Birthday to Dolph Ziggler, and we have the United States champion having a United States related party, and there's cake and whatever, and food and munchies and drinks. And when there's food in the WWE, you know somebody's going in it. So it's like, okay, there's a cake, somebody's going in it. Kofi comes out and basically tells Ziggler what we all want him to tell Ziggler, and that's that he can't win without Vicky. He gives a cheap shot to Ziggler, who bumps into Vicky, who sits her ass in the cake, and then falls chest first in the cake. It needs to be said, okay? Granted, a lot of people have pointed it out, and I will agree, Vicky Guerrero is in better shape than when she started her little character spiel in the WWE. She should not be wearing a skin-tight white tank top. That's just no good. That's like trapping a manatee in an elastic, and it's just bad. Um, what's even more bizarre about this is that Kofi and Dolph fight up the rampway and out of view of the crowd and the audience, and Vicky Guerrero just sits there with cake hanging off her ass, and the crowd is chanting, "We want cake." After seeing Vicky Guerrero sit in a cake, cake is the last thing that I want. That was really, really bizarre, and it was loud. Like, it was audible loud. And that's kind of ridiculous unless the people in Vegas are really that fucked up. I don't even want to go any farther with that thought. We then have an Alex Riley highlight package, which was amazing. Highlighting what he's done in general, highlighting some of his promos and whatever, and of course highlighting the current rivalry that he has with The Miz, and then they have another match. Alex Riley and The Miz have great matchups, because before, when The Miz would fight and he would always have Alex Riley in his corner, it was always bullshit. You knew there was going to be bullshit. Riley has nobody in his corner, Miz has nobody in his corner, because Miz doesn't have any other allies in the WWE, and if you follow logic, Alex Riley wouldn't either, because all the people that are pissed off at The Miz would be pissed off at Alex Riley too, because at a certain point Alex Riley was the one helping Miz fuck them over. So it makes sense that neither one of them would have allies, so it means they have a straight up match. And they're so similar, and they mash up so well together, that they do a mutual job of making each other look really, really good in the ring. Alex Riley wins, and Miz mauls him like a motherfucker after the match, it has to be said. Contributing more to what I said before, he's sort of losing it and just wailing on him, and just... He had his head pinned in the... I don't know what you call it, the crease of the metal step, and it wasn't like he was squeezing his head between the pieces of the step or anything that dramatic. It was just, he was just holding him there and pushing him into the crease. And the simplicity of it made it look more effective. And just little things like that I love about The Miz. And conversely, little things like that Alex Riley doesn't do, and little things that Alex Riley does, like facial expressions and knowing how to pop the crowd, even though he's a new guy. Alex Riley is the first new face guy that I've been excited about in a long time as a fan, and the fact that they've paired him off with The Miz, who is their newest super heel, I think is a brilliant, brilliant move on the WWE's part. Just my opinion. And then we have Vince McMahon, who comes out and cuts a 1-minute promo about how CM Punk deserved it, he was being a dick, da-da-da-da-da. And he was about to leave, and he calls CM Punk a punk, because that's really original. Cena comes out and proceeds to get in Vince's face, and Cena, again, it cuts me to the core to have to say this, because I still can't stand Cena. He had a back and forth with Vince at the end of tonight's show. Wasn't as good as Austin, but you can tell he'd been watching some old Attitude Era tapes, because he was right in Vince's face, and he was given a lot of leeway. Obviously not as much as Punk was, but he was given a lot of leeway, and he got right in Vince's face, and he says, more or less, you're being a bitch, you're scared of being embarrassed, you're a coward, you used to be a fighter, you used to have grapefruits, and now you've got peach pits. That was a great line. I'll give him that. And basically he says, you're worried about CM Punk making the title worthless, but if you won't let me defend it, it's already worthless. Hands Vince the title and starts to walk out. Vince chases him up the ramp like the little bitch that he is, and says, fine, here, take the belt back, you can have your match with Punk, Punk's reinstated, but if you lose, I'm going to walk down the ramp at the pay-per-view and fire you. And then that's basically the end of the show. He's a chorus of boos, like, obviously, whoever goes up against Cena is getting booed from the majority of the crowd, because the majority of the crowd these days is kids, isn't it? So anybody going up against their superhero is going to get booed. But no, this was like loud and vicious boos directed at Vince McMahon, once again reminding me sort of back in the day. This isn't enough to make me a Cena fan, for sure. Don't get any misnomers on that one. But Cena in general tonight was really, with his promo work, because he didn't do anything, maybe it's because he didn't do anything in the ring tonight. I didn't have to watch him in a match, so I didn't mind him tonight. That's a horrible thing to say about the current world champion, isn't it? I'd rather see him cut a promo, good or bad, than see him wrestle. That's not good, is it? But, anyways, some of his promo work tonight was top of the chart. When Cena decides to be on full 100%, he can do it. He just doesn't most of the time. And that's really worse. Anyways, that's the end of the show. So that's that. That's that. Scores, fails, and MVP. Scores are obviously first. I've already said it. Cena's promotional work tonight was better than I ever expect from him. Not better than everybody else, but better than I expect from him. Nexus forming a great team, and Nexus having the chance to form a good team, just being Otunga and McGillicutty with no other, big, bulky backup guy, no other, manager, leader guy getting in their way. As a team, on their own, they look stronger than if they get helped, don't they? They have to have a couple legitimate tag teams if they want us to give a shit about the tag team titles with the little helmets on them, don't they? The Slaughter Swagger match was crap, but Slaughter got a big, humongous pop. Granted, that's because, he's a Hall of Famer and he used to be good. Also because of, like I say, the general Americana of it being Independence Day. There's a lot of reasons why he got a big pop, but I will give a score to the big, huge pop that he got tonight. Miz and Alex Riley matches, I already talked about it while I was reviewing the show. Miz and Alex Riley matches I could watch all day. And Miz's psychology and the way he went about his beating after the match was top notch. Like I say, reminds me of Jericho. If he gets any better, I might go as far as to say he reminds me of Edge, when Edge was just starting his rated R persona. But not quite there yet, I must say. The fails. Santino and Marella should never be allowed in the ring again. Because as good as the match was on Nexus's point in tonight's match, Santino Marella just makes everything fucking goofy. I don't want to see a man in tights doing the splits and Cobra, because then it leads Jerry the King Lawler to make his King Cobra jokes. And King's awesome most of the time, but when he's not, he's really, really, really not. As usual tonight, the Divas match could have been everybody's piss break. They need to do something. I know they were hanging their hat on putting the title on Awesome Kong, or at least having some kind of program with Awesome Kong, but wake up, you don't have that option anymore. They better do something. Put a push behind Natalya. Put a push behind Beth Phoenix. Hell, put a push behind Gail Kim, for fuck's sakes. But Kelly Kelly is the John Cena of the women's division. And she's blonde. Moving on. I already said it. Vicky Guerrero needs to not come out in his little clothes as she came in tonight, because, I just ate and stuff. Last thing for the fail category, and let me see if this makes any sense. If CM Punk is leaving, regardless of what the final storyline is, whatever the final feud is between him and Vince, between him and John, whatever, they should at least make him look a little bit strong on his way out, shouldn't they? Conversely, Vince needs to look like the strong guest person in the company. Not from a physical standpoint, obviously, but because he is the owner, and ultimately he has the power to say, fuck you, you don't have a job anymore. Both of them are afraid of Cena, or at least that's how they're being promoted. CM Punk was suspended, and the only reason he's back in the WWE is because John Cena made it happen. So it's almost like Punk owes him one now, which is ridiculous. He's a heel, so of course he's not going to see it that way. But that's how it's portrayed, isn't it? CM Punk has a match because John Cena wants to have a match with him. On the same note, friggin' anybody else that Vince has gone up against, be it The Rock, be it Austin, be it Shawn Michaels, be it whoever, he was doing his damnedest to get the belt off of whoever he was fighting against. He was fighting against John Cena tonight, and when John Cena dropped the belt, he ran after him up the ramp, like I said, like a little fucking bitch. You should not be booked stronger than the owner of the company. So, you know, John Cena's superpower points just went up another 10 points. It's fucking ridiculous. So apparently nobody can touch John Cena, even his boss. MVP for tonight is going to be The Miz, and he only beats out Alex Riley by, like, that much for the beatdown after the match. If it was just based on the match, this would be a dead tie, and I told you guys for MVP I'm not going to go with more than one. But by that much, but it is The Miz for this Independence Day edition of the Raw Review. I'm not going to give anything away, but I do have something else. It's going to be a short video, but I do have something else that I'm thinking about doing later this week. And for those of you that care, I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to have fun doing it. I hope you guys stick around and watch. Anyways, you know the drill. I've been Spaz. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, and I will talk to you guys later.